Alright guys, in this video we're going to talk about how not to be a loser in your 30s. Now in order to not be a loser in your 30s, we're going to assume that you guys watching this, I'm going to assume that you guys watching this are in your 20s or whatever, below 20 or 25. If you're already 30, that's fine, you could use this advice to be in a better position when you're older, 35 or 40 or whatever. First things first, when you're 18 years old, 19, whatever, as soon as you get a job, you gotta know, you won't necessarily know what you want, but you gotta plan for your future, right? So you gotta be like, no one's coming to save me, so I've gotta either start a business, buy a business, invest in real estate, stocks, index funds, what have you, whatever, or a combination of everything. Or I've got to learn a skill set that I can use in the future. Or, I mean, if you want to go down the path of, learning a trade, learning going to university for something, for a career, if that's what you really wanted. So you really just got to be always working towards that. So even if you want a regular job, you want a regular career, say you want to be a teacher or something, whatever, you be a teacher, but you always invest your money. You always saving money to invest. You know what I mean? Like you're working, obviously you don't spend all of your money, you always put money aside. You save the money, you put it aside to save it, but the goal isn't to just save it for no reason, it's to then invest the money. And what you invest the money into would be either, like, you could either buy a business, a franchise, after you know what you want, you research, or you throw the money into you starting your own business, having a go at your own business, or buying real estate, getting in real estate, or stocks, or whatever, right? You always, you have to do this. If you don't do this, if you just kind of go through your 20s and waste them, and now you're 29, 30, and you got nothing, you don't even have 10k saved up, you know what I mean? Like you fucked yourself, you know what I mean? You fucked yourself. That's really you in your 20s, when you don't have, look, yeah, some people may get married in their 20s and have children, but you being in your 20s, that timeline, usually you don't have too many responsibilities, so that's the timeline where you really want to go fucking hard. By the time you reach 30 years old, you want to have some sort of a base, even if it's small. Even if you just got a house and you got a bit of money in ETFs, index funds, or something, you need something. You can't, and this is not to shit on the people. If you're already 30 years old and you've got nothing, you can start now, and by the time you're 35, 37, 40, you'll be in a good position, right? It'll be better than being 40. Like, imagine turning 40 and having nothing. So you never want to get to that state. Now you can, be like, this is too hard, and I don't want to do all this bullshit, fuck this. But the time's going to come, and then when you're 30, you're going to be like, you want to be a man. Like, you want things, you want a house. If you get married or have a partner or have kids, you want to be able to provide for your family. So you do need money. And how are you going to be a grown man with no money for yourself? Like, it's embarrassing, right? What do you know what I mean? Like, what are you, a girl or something? Like, you need money. You need money in this world. So it's really up to you. No one's gonna, at least girls have the benefit of, maybe they'll meet a guy, maybe they'll do nothing, they'll turn 30, meet a guy, marry him, and then he looks after them. As men, we don't have that privilege. So you really got to do it for yourself. Let me see. I wrote a few things down. Yeah, so in your 20s, you don't really want to be fucking around partying. Like, if you go to a party here and there, it's fine. But if you're going clubbing every single weekend, you're doing drugs every single weekend, what do you, like, where are you going to end up? You're gonna be brain dead for one. You're gonna be fucked. What are you gonna be in a rehab center? You're gonna be in jail. You've you know you because of like if you're doing drugs, because the dopamine is so good now, nothing else is good enough. Now you're probably depressed. Like you really got to think through what you're doing, right? So don't waste your 20s. Don't fuck around. Um, by the time you're 30, you do want a good base, whether you've already bought a business, by that sort of time frame, or you've started a business, or whatever. You've got a few houses, or you've got one house paid off, or you've got a couple. You need something, right? So this is how not to be a loser in your 30s. If you're already 30 or you're approaching 30 and you haven't done nothing, then obviously start now. Don't be like, oh, I'll just ignore it and I'll come to it. You drifting through life, you can drift, and the years will just go by like that. So the years are always going to go by whether you're taking action or not. So I recommend that you do take action. So when 5 years come by, 10 years come by, you've actually got something, right, to show for it. Like imagine just wasting 20 years old to 30 years old and you've done absolutely nothing. I don't get guys that do absolutely nothing for 10, 15 years. Some people their whole life they do nothing. But how can you waste 10 years and do nothing? Not even a deposit for a house? You know what I mean? Not even one deposit for a house? Some guys, man, I don't even get some guys. Some guys, they can't save up. They don't even go to the gym. They can't diet. They can't even, read a book. They can't approach girls. They just go to work, play video games after work every day. And I'm just thinking to myself, why even go to work? Just go live out on the street. Like, for me, I've always went to work, not for the sake of working. Working was always like, I always got money from work. And I put the money towards my goals, right? Like, I know, like, a lot of people just work to work. They're like, oh, that's life. For me, it was never like that. When I got my first job, my first serious job, like, I probably started working at 16, but my first serious job was 18. And I turned permanent. I was working towards my goals. My goal at the time was to like save up a deposit for a house. So that's what I was doing at the time. And then my goals, I had new goals after that, after I'd done that and whatnot. So it was always towards a goal. It was always for financial freedom and to do things. It was never just going to work, coming home, putting on TV, going to work. Like, you'll never get anywhere. You'll be working till retirement age. That's no way to live. So as a young guy, you want to be able to put in the hard yards early on, right? And so by the time you're 30, 40, you're in a good position, alright? That's it, guys. If you're young enough, then you're in a good position. Don't fuck around. Don't worry about, people are going parties and you ain't going to the parties and blah blah. Like, a lot of these guys end up being losers. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys end up being losers. Nothing wrong with going to a party here and there and going out here and there, but every single weekend and doing, like, stay away from drugs. Never touch drugs. Alcohol. If you want to drink here and there, drink, but like, just stay away. To me, that's not a life. Just doing drugs every weekend, drinking every weekend, and partying every weekend. Like, it's fucking boring. You want to be in a position when you're older where you can just travel around the world. That might not be your thing. Whatever your thing is, if your thing's having a family, then you want to be able to provide for your family, right? If your thing is traveling around the world, then you want to be able to travel around the world and do what you want. If your thing is like just doing whatever the fuck you want, traveling, you're like, oh, now I want to start a family, I've got the money now, the housing market's crashed, I've got $500,000 in the bank, boom, I just bought 3 properties there, they go up, in value within 2 years, you sold one, whatever, the stock market's crashed, you put $100K down, oh, I want to fly to whatever, Brazil next month and whatnot. It gives you options and you can do things. Without money, you got nothing. And the only way you're going to get to that position is from whenever. Say you start today, alright, from today you're working, you're always putting money aside. Always putting money aside. Always investing your money. That way anything happens, you can maneuver, you can do things. You want to quit your job and have a go at starting a business for 2 years? Well, if you fucking got money, you can do that, right? If you don't have money, you're fucked, right? What's the difference between a guy that has the opportunity to quit his job and start a business? Sorry, I didn't word that right. So a guy that has money because he's worked and set himself up, that's like that guy, say when he's 28, 27, he's got enough money in the bank, and he's like, well, now I really want to have a go at starting an online business, right? Alright, well now you don't have to quit, but he can quit. He can travel the world, quit his job, travel the world, whilst traveling the world, have a go at the online business. He bought himself 2 years, and he might make it. Now he's got an online business that he's running, where if you never save up, you can never get out. You can never get out of the trap, right? People live paycheck to paycheck. You wanna get out of that. You wanna get out of that. Alright guys, that's all I can think of at the top of my head. Like this video, subscribe. I'll be uploading a video once a week, something like that. See you in the next one.